Yes, people, welcome back to Albert J TV. Let's hit the intro. Yes, people, welcome back to another Albert J TV match review. Very fresh after the game. But before we get into that, you guys know the drill by now. Yes, as you guys can see, I've got two special guests with me, my fellow Gooner brothers, man. Arsenal family, absolutely. Firstly, I'm going to introduce my usual guy that comes on, Rich. I'm not going to ask you how you've been, but just tell me you're after. Introduce yourself, mate.
Yeah, obviously I'm from over and over and over again. I did do a watch along of the game just now, which I enjoyed watching. I suppose to a certain degree, as much as you can. But yeah, it's not the greatest time to be an Arsenal fan, is it?
No, absolutely.
And you know, we've been around for a while, and this is probably as bad as I can remember, if I'm totally honest. Not only in just the results, but how we're playing. It's not great to watch, is it? And
absolutely.
We'll get into it, I know, in a minute, but yeah, it's nearly Christmas anyway, which is good.
Don't get me started on that, man. That's a whole other issue talking about the government, man. We'll have that conversation off air, man.
Yeah, definitely.
But no, I appreciate you two guys coming on, man. You're the only positive thing that I've seen today, man, if I'm being honest, Arsenal related. But Colin, no, I'm glad to finally get you on, mate. I knew that, like I said to you before we came on live, I knew I was going to get you on my channel at some point, but I knew it wasn't going to be a good introduction for you to come on, but I'm glad to have you on, mate. So yeah, glad to get you on even during these hard circumstances.
Bruv, when is it ever good?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's true. You know what I mean? I'm flabbergasted more than anything else. I don't even have the energy anymore. My neck's been killing me all day.
Yeah. It's not going to be a long one tonight, man. But to be honest, I just want to hear you guys' views about the game. I can sit here and add my 2 pennies worth, which I'm sure I would do. To the viewers, for the viewers watching, subscribe to the channel, smash the like button straight away. For the younger generation out there, if you have not seen the film Groundhog Day, I suggest you watch it tonight. Don't even wait till tomorrow. Watch it tonight. Bill Murray, that's what I'm going to say. So let's get straight into it. I'm going to start with Colin. When you saw the team lineup, formation-wise, whatever way you want to look at it, what was your first initial thoughts, mate?
Dead team.
Yeah.
Enough said. Like, I could understand Aubameyang not starting, right?
Yeah.
If we announced that he had an injury like a while ahead,
yeah,
then I would get it.
Yeah.
But an hour before the game, really?
Yeah, the timing's a bit sus, mate.
Like, come on. Like, and I had people defending it like he's saying people like, oh, he's injured. He's like, what would you like Arteta to do? Just have Ancelotti like zoom in on the tactics. And I'm just like, what's that got to do with it?
Yeah.
We're talking about the fact that the club have waited until the final hour to announce, oh, by the way, Aubameyang's injured.
Yeah.
Like, in my head, when I seen that team, I'm like, Aubameyang scored against Southampton, finally.
Yeah, open play.
And he's dropped? Like, what sense does that make?
Colin, what do you say to Colin? I was going to say, what do you say to? I mean, let me play devil's advocate a little bit. I even tweeted it before the game. Yes, I take into account that Aubameyang scored in the last game. You know, but he has. People can talk about creativity if it comes out the rears. That's an obvious argument any Arsenal fan is going to say about this team in terms of helping Aubameyang. But the fact that he's not been playing well, was it that, whether you believe the injury thing or not, was it that much of a surprise that he wasn't in the team?
Well, Yeah, because he scored against Southampton, bruv. Like if you know, in football, it's a confidence thing. You know what I mean? Like Aubameyang's finally got a goal. That'll get his confidence going up again. Yeah. You drop him from the team, that confidence goes right down to ground zero, and then you're right back where you started. Like that's not. I take the point that he's not playing well, but still, it's like, what do you expect? The team is crap for the most part. Let's be honest. A midfield, Elneny and Ceballos. Are you kidding me?
Colin, do you know what? Sorry to cut you.
Yeah, nah.
Colin, sorry to cut in, mate. You know, the main reason why I asked that only because I get it in terms of like the team's not playing well and the creativity around him, but I don't know. I guess I kind of look at it a bit differently from my point of view. Like having like played football and playing as a striker, I just think yes, sometimes you might not get the service and the quality of play around you, but I mean more so in terms of individual accountability, in terms of his performance, what he does individually. Do you think that's a fair accusation with a lot of Arsenal fans who say he should be dropped because of his terrible form?
It is, but still, like I look at things differently. I look at how we're playing right now. I don't think we're playing into Aubameyang's strengths, and you can argue with me all you want about that, but I'm convinced of this. Like the football we're playing is absolutely dog shit.
Yeah,
like absolutely dog shit. You look at. All right, let's look at the team. Let's look at it, right? The front line, usually, Pepe, Aubameyang, Lacazette. You agreed on that?
Yeah.
Would you say that's a bottom 5 strike force?
No, mate, no.
Exactly. You look at the midfield. Xhaka, who, nah. Ceballos, nah.
Yeah.
Elneny, nah. That midfield is bottom 5. Simple. The back, I actually don't mind the defense, to be honest with you. Aside from a few
people, two tweaks,
a few bits and bobs, right? You got Kieran Tierney at left back, who should be captain in my eyes.
Yeah, don't disagree with that.
He's the only one taking accountability. You've seen his comments this week, and you're just like, you know what? That's what a captain does.
Yeah,
that's my captain. You got Gabriel. And truthfully, we need another centre-back partner for him. But then again, you've got one in the under-23, Saliba. Like, what's with that, you know?
Madness.
Granted, what I've seen of Saliba in the under-23s has not been brilliant, but still, it can't be worse than it can't be worse than Rob Holding. It can't be. It's physically impossible, right? It can't be. Then you got the right backs. You got Niles and Cedric. Right?
Yeah.
Now, aside from the obvious, which is the centre-back partner for Gabriel, would you say that's a bottom half defence?
No, there's much worse. I will get into that, but yeah, it's much worse, mate. It's much worse.
So there you go. It's the midfield that's the issue.
Yeah. Right. Cheers. I'm gonna get Rich in, mate. Cheers. I'm gonna come back to you on a couple other things, but yeah, Rich, mate. Yeah, what was your initial thoughts, mate? Because I know you've done a live watch along on your channel. The team lineup, sorry, mate, and the formation, mate.
I mean, I just really want to. I am not of the mindset that Aubameyang's been dropped at all. The fact that Martinelli was pulled out the under-23s yesterday to get into the squad today suggested to me that he was brought in. Now, with hindsight, knowing that Aubameyang wasn't in the squad, he was brought in to replace Aubameyang. They knew yesterday Aubameyang was injured. They didn't release the information probably because they didn't want to play into Everton's hands, I think. I think that was the reason why. And it actually made sense to do that. And I think that was a good decision. Whoever made that decision at the club. It was obvious why Martinelli was named in the under-23 squad initially, then pulled out at the last minute. He was pulled out because Aubameyang was injured and they needed him to be in the squad for today. And he came on, which was great to see. So I don't believe that Aubameyang was dropped. I believe he is injured or he's ill or there's some problem. It's nothing to do with him being dropped. He didn't travel because of that reason. And that's why Martinelli was called up yesterday. So I think we need to maybe understand that was probably what happened. That he wasn't dropped. You wouldn't drop your striker who's just scored a goal. stupid. No one would do that. He clearly is injured, and that's why that happened.
Yeah.
So obviously, I was surprised initially when I saw the team because we didn't know Aubameyang was a doubt, and that was maybe clever ploy from Arsenal not to release that information, because Everton would have probably changed their team to suit that, wouldn't they? I was disappointed that Willian was in the team, but I guess when you look at who else he had on the bench, maybe Smith Rowe was the only one you could think he could have put in, but he's not played him in the Premier League yet, so that's no surprise.
At all.
I don't know why Balogun, you've got 9 subs, he had 4 defenders on the bench. Why would you fill your bench with 4 defenders? When it's unnecessary. He had Kolasinac. Yes, okay, he can cover for Tierney if Tierney gets injured, maybe. You've got Mustafi and Suarez and Bellerin.
2 right backs. Yeah, insane.
Yeah, 2 centre backs on the bench the other day, and you've got Balogun, a striker who could sit on the bench at least, and if he's needed, he can come on. And maybe in that second half, we could have needed him. Instead, he brought Lacazette on because it was all we had. So some of those decisions are baffling with me, and he's doing it constantly, isn't he, with the substitutions that he's naming on the bench. Too many defensive players for me when we need to score goals. We're not scoring goals. So why are you filling your defense with your bench with defenders? In terms of the starting lineup, it was as I pretty much predicted it would be, apart from Willian being apart from Nketiah being in, for Aubameyang, obviously. That was unexpected. But other than that, it was pretty much the side I predicted in my preview video. So I wasn't surprised by the team other than that at all, because it's what I expected Arteta to do. Not the team I would have picked necessarily, but it's what I expected him to do. I'm glad he went with a 3 at the back, actually, because I do feel that's, with what we've got at the moment, that's our best formation. I think it worked okay against Southampton. It worked okay in spells today, but obviously it didn't work enough because we lost the game, as we'll come to. It's more the people on the bench that concern me. Again, why did he not bring Smith Rowe on? Martinelli coming on was great. It was great that he's back, and that was I was glad he came on. Why bring Lacazette on when he's not been performing? Why keep Willian on when he's not performing? Pepe didn't have a great game, I suppose, but at least he offered something a bit different. Maybe leave him on, take Willian off. I would have put Smith Rowe on to give us a little bit of something different in the final 15 minutes when we were running out of ideas, clearly. We had a lot of possession, but we had no ideas. We were whipping balls into the box aimlessly a lot of the time. A couple of good balls, actually, but just no one reading it, no one gambling and getting in there. And there was a couple of times where Nketiah could have got himself a goal if he had put himself in that position to do so, thrown himself at the ball, read the cross coming in at near post, and just make that run, gamble. Because once in every 6 runs that you make, you're going to get yourself a goal. And it's what Calvert-Lewin did to get the goal, the first goal. I know it was a deflection, but he made the run in there. And that's not what our players are doing, none of them. And that's a confidence thing, or is it the way we're playing? I'm not sure what it is. But the midfield is obviously the problem. There's no doubt about that. But you're looking at Ceballos is an all right player. He's not great, but he's all right. El Neni is an all right player, international player for Egypt, right? That is Maitland-Niles is a decent enough player. Saka's a great little player. So overall, those 4 in midfield today is a midfield that should not be 15th in the league. We've got an attack that should potentially have goals in it. Pepe came with 20-odd goals in France when he joined us. He's one of our top scorers this season. And Nketiah scores goals sometimes. Aubameyang was a miss, obviously. So you look at that and you think that team, and you just look through the players, you think that team should be in the top half of the table, should be challenging for the top 6. It should be, with the players that we've got. The fact that we aren't, that there's fundamental problems somewhere along the line to make that happen. Yes, Thomas Partey is going to make a difference when he's fit. I have no doubt about that. Gabriel was missing today. He may have prevented that second goal. You never know. He would have at least been awake to the defensive side of the game when Pepe wasn't. But we're almost clutching at things, really. But to me, that team that we had today, that starting 11, maybe with Aubameyang instead of Nketiah in, is a team that should be challenging for the top 6 at least, shouldn't it? Let's be honest. You can't tell me that Southampton have better players than us. You can't tell me that Everton, they've got 1 or 2 better players than us, but overall, they haven't got a better group of players than we have, I don't think. And I don't know, there's something fundamentally wrong with the way that we're playing. It doesn't seem to suit the, maybe it doesn't suit the players. And if you take Saka out of this team at this moment in time, then we've basically got nothing in the forward sense at all. We've got nothing. He's the only one that offers us anything. He didn't have a great game today, I didn't think particularly, but he's entitled to the odd poor one here and there. But at least he's always trying. He's always able to give us something in that final third. Tierney as well, putting some great balls today as well. And nobody was reading. And Maitland-Niles putting a couple of decent balls as well. we've got some good players. We have, but for some reason, as a group, it's not working. And there can only really be one reason for that, and that's got to be the guy that's organising them, and the guy that's selecting the formation, and the guy that's picking those players in those positions. And unfortunately, it's got to come down to him. And I love Arteta. I do, honestly. I really, really like the guy, and I'm desperate for him to succeed and and make a real great career at Arsenal and make us become a great team again. But I'm not sure. I wouldn't sack him now. I think it's pointless. There's no point now. No one's going to come in now between now and the end of the season and do any different.
No.
Really, not realistically. We're going to finish mid-table anyway. I don't think there's much doubt about that. Possibly a little bit higher, but that's the most that we're going to do. Whatever manager we get, we could get Pep Guardiola coming, and we're not going to improve an awful lot with this group of players, because this is, they're underperforming slightly, but when I say 6th, 7th, 8th, or 9th, that's where we are with this group of players, no matter what manager we have. And until we can get rid of the deadwood, free some money up, and get new players in next summer, we're not going to progress. We're just going to have to suffer this season, I think, see it out and put up with it, and hopefully things will improve in January. Partey will be fit. Martinelli will be fit. We might bring a player in January. You never know. It might make a bit of a difference, whether it's Aouar, whether it's somebody else, whatever it might be. And maybe we might finish the season slightly better, finish maybe in the top half of the league, maybe have a decent cup run, and then get rid of all these players out of contract at the end of the year, free up some money, spend some money on some better players that Arteta wants. And then next season, we can really judge him with the players that he's brought in. Because so far, he's brought Thomas Partey in, who's going to be a great player for us when he's fit. He's brought Gabriel in, who's been our best player this season. They were his players that he wanted. And if he brings in another 3 or 4 of them next summer, players that he wants of that level, that can produce them level of performances, then we are going to improve next season. And if we scrap it all now and say, right, okay, Arteta's not working, which it isn't at the moment, I agree. He's making mistakes, clearly, with some of the formations, the people on the bench. But if we change all that now, get someone else in now, what realistically are we going to achieve between now and the end of this season? Different. I honestly don't think we can change anything, really. You're going to get you might get a little bit more out of some of these players, possibly. You get a new manager bounce, don't you? Everybody gets it for 10 games. But I think the new year is going to see some change anyway, because Martinelli being back today, to me, that's the biggest positive of this season so far, apart from Gabriel's performances, is Martinelli playing. And when he came on, he made a difference today. He didn't get much opportunities. He didn't get in the game, but you could see the difference that he made straight away when he came on. When he had the ball, he was looking to be positive, and he was looking to try to make something happen in that final third. And that's what we've been lacking. I think once he picks himself up, gets himself match fit properly, that's going to make a difference. Thomas Partey coming back in the team is going to make a difference. And I actually feel that the next part of the season, after Christmas, is going to be tough. It's going to be tough. Like 4 or 5 games is going to be tough, because we've got the same group of players. We don't know what how serious Aubameyang's injury is. We've got no Thomas Partey, so it's going to be a struggle. Next 5 or 6 games, just try and get through them and try and stay out of the bottom 3. And then once we start getting players back and hopefully sign someone in January, let's then look to maybe. I think the last 2 performances for me, there's been signs that the players are playing for Arteta. They are playing for the club. They want to do well. We're just lacking a little bit of quality. And that's what today was the second half of that game. We tried. I don't think there's any question that we didn't. The players gave everything that they could give. I think they're just not good enough they wasn't good enough to break down this Everton well-organised team they were. And that was what it was at the end of the day. We just wasn't quite good enough. But I don't think today there's been performances where I've accused the players of not trying, not playing for Arteta. But today, I thought the second half against Southampton, I thought they did. And they gave all that they had. It's just not enough, because they're not good enough. And whatever manager comes in isn't going to make them better players. Possible. They're not a magician. They can't suddenly, I'll give you 3 wishes and you're going to make all these players better. It's not going to happen, is it? They're what they are. And I think they're pretty much giving almost as much as they can. The system could be changed. We could have some better players, some different players on the bench, try some of the younger players a bit more. Yes, Arteta needs to do that. And I think that at the moment, he's under pressure. So he's putting his experienced players in, because if you throw young players in a relegation battle, that's asking for trouble. And I can see why he's not doing it. I think he needs to. He's got nothing to lose now, because we can't get any worse. We can't play any worse, can we? We can't be any worse than we are, realistically. So throw him in and see where we go. But I just can't. I personally don't think getting rid of Arteta now is going to make any difference. That's not the problem. That's not the real problem. It's a problem, but it's not the ultimate problem. The problems are far deeper than that. And until that is changed, then we aren't going to progress. And it's almost shocking how quickly it's gone backwards. When
Yeah,
you think
it is frightening, mate. It is.
you think
I'm
of
not
the
thinking
Community
like this.
Shield, the Community Shield, which was what we've played 20 games since then, probably in all competitions in the Premier League, the Europa League, the Carabao Cup. We've probably played about 20 odd games since the Community Shield, and we've gone from that performance that day. I know Liverpool were not quite on it, but even so, we played well. To go from that performance to what the last 7, 8, 9 performances in the league, it's how did that happen that quickly? It's almost unbelievable, isn't it? But I don't know. There's a lot of things wrong at the club at the moment, and Arteta is one of them. But he's maybe a small amount of it like that. The players are probably this much, and then there's a massive problem outside of that needs to change. And if that isn't going to change, we can have 10 managers, and we're not going to be any better off than we are now. And ultimately, that's the situation that we're in. And I think we all need to accept that. This season in particular, we have got to forget this season and anything other than staying in the Premier League and trying to finish in the top half if we can, and maybe have a good cup run somewhere along the line. Tuesday night, if we can get through the semi-final of that, we might win a cup again. And then take some sort of something from this season if we can, because we've got to accept now this is where we are. These are the players that we've got. Some of them don't want to be there. Some of them aren't good enough to be there. And Arteta I feel a bit sorry for him that he said the other day, didn't he, that he's almost had 10 years worth of problems in 1 year. And I can understand where he's coming from. That's probably what it feels like for him. And I do feel sorry for him. And he's like inexperienced, and that hasn't helped. But we could have got Ancelotti in last year, which was a possibility we could have done. Would we really be that much better now? That club has spent well. They've bought good players. We wouldn't have done that. And that's our problem. That is our problem.
I don't think we would have got him in the first place, to be honest.
No, we wouldn't. But even if we had done,
the reason why, right, is because we weren't going to pay the money for him.
Yeah,
that's the reason. That's the reason. He is one of the highest paid managers in this league, right? And I'll tell you what, that performance today from Everton, that was classic AC Milan Ancelotti level.
Yeah, someone said that in the comments, mate. You did say that.
It was.
Yeah,
it was, because Ancelotti used to do that with Milan all the time.
Yeah,
get an early goal and whatnot, and then just sit back, absorb pressure, and then go up there.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a masterclass from Ancelotti today, really, second half in particular, because they just sat back and absorbed what we had, which wasn't great, in all honesty, the quality wise. And Everton, in the end, I mean, I thought we deserved at least a draw, if I'm honest, from the second half before. We deserved something. I don't lucky with David Luiz. David Luiz's shot at the post. And I thought, for the effort that we put in, I thought we deserved something. We just didn't have the quality to get it. That's the difference. But I thought we deserved it. I felt we deserved something from that game, just for the effort that they put in that second half in particular. And even the first half, we didn't play badly. We conceded 2 very, very soft goals that need to be looked at and, not concede again. But overall, I didn't think we played badly. And I thought we were a little unfortunate not to have got a draw in the end, maybe. That chance from Saka right at the very end, it was a decent save from Pickford, that, and that, would have made it 2-2 in the last minute. And, I thought there wasn't much in that game today. And Everton are second in the league, and there wasn't much in it, let's be honest. There wasn't. They had a little bit more quality, and they made less mistakes than we did. And that was the difference. We made 2 mistakes, cost 2 goals. They had a little bit more quality on their deliveries into the box and people that were willing to attack the ball, and then we didn't quite have that. But that was the only difference, really. Other than that, there wasn't much to choose between us over that 95 minutes, I didn't think. And we could have gone.
Here's an issue I have with that, right? Why are Everton putting more quality crosses into the box than we are?
Well, they've got a better player. They've got Sigurdsson, who's quality delivery. He's one of the best in the Premier League, at delivering balls into the box, especially from set pieces. He is. He's just brilliant at it. He's one of the best that there is. And they've got him, and we haven't got a player who can deliver that. Well, we have. He's sitting at home twiddling his thumbs. But we don't have anybody in the current squad that can deliver a dead ball or deliver a ball consistently like he can. And they've also got the players in Calvert-Lewin, for example, obviously the defenders as well, who will attack the ball. We don't have people that will do that. We've got Gabriel, and he's obviously wasn't playing today. But that was the difference today. That was the 2 differences for me, was in the fact that they had better deliveries into the box more consistently, and they had players that were willing to attack the ball and actually make an average delivery into a good delivery because they're prepared to put themselves on the end of it. And we haven't got the quality to do that. And that's the difference. And that was it. It was overall, over the 95 minutes, there wasn't a lot to choose between the sides. Other than that, I didn't think. And they're second in the league now, and we are 15th. And it just goes to show that a few little adjustments here and there, one or two better quality players in, and we could potentially be, you know, challenging up that end of the league because we're not miles away from it.
I think we're the complete.
We're lacking the quality.
We're the opposite, mate, to be honest.
And unfortunately, they're the two important parts. But
we're lacking the quality and we're lacking the manager for it.
Colin, let me come in a minute. Sorry. As it says in my title, devoid of quality. So when I saw the team lineup, and I've never ever done it with going into Arsenal games in the last two games, Southampton and this one, where the first thing I'm looking at is the bench, the actual first 11.
Yeah.
To see who's gonna come on and change the game. I mean, you make a good point, Rich, in terms of you look at the 9 subs that are there. We've got 2 right backs. I mean, that just baffles me completely. Again, it's predictable of Arteta in terms of his blind loyalty, faith, whatever you want to call it, for his trusted lieutenants in, you know, Willian, and you could even probably add Rob Holding to that. When I saw the, if I sort of go into like the game itself, I'll say the first half. I'm going to bring Colin in a bit. I'm going to talk about that. What I kind of saw, I don't know if you agree with me, but when the centre backs have got the ball, I've never known the football team to try and play without using the midfield. So 2 things were happening. The first thing is the centre backs have got the ball, they go long. Or the second thing that's happening, if they do get over the halfway line, they go straight through to the strikers. I didn't see one point in that first half where the midfield was picking the ball up off David Luiz or Rob Holding. I mean, you can't play like that. You know, we have a creativity issue anyway, but you just can't play like that. You're bypassing your midfield. Your midfield needs to be an integral part of how you transition the ball. It's far too slow, and I've criticized the strikers, whoever the combinations are. I don't understand why we play 3 up front. I don't think whoever it is, there's no movement. They're slow. They're lazy. Our front 3. I understand. I look at the midfield, for example, when we played against Southampton, and I saw about 2 or 3 occasions where and then he's got the ball, and he's gesturing to the strikers. You're not moving. What do you want us to do? You're like statues. If we get the ball, where are we supposed to penetrate the team? Like I said, we're predictable from one side of the pitch. You both know, Colin and Rich, right? If we was going to get any joy today, it was going to come from the 2 players which it came through today again, which was Saka and Kieran Tierney, and that happened. But yeah, Colin, I'm going to come to you. What did you make of the first half and then going in second half? What did you make of the performance, mate? Individually or just collectively, mate? What was you seeing in your eyes, mate?
It's dreadful, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Simple as that. Like, there's not much to be said. Like, the midfield, I've said for the longest time as well, the midfield is the deadest I've ever seen it. Yeah. Honestly, we're talking fucking Jack Colback and Vernon Anita levels. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah, it's dire, mate. It's absolutely dire.
And then you have, I hate this prick as well.
Yeah.
You have Kia ringing up Sky, right, to fucking complain about Carragher criticizing Willian and Luiz. Tell me, what Willian done in an Arsenal shirt bar the Fulham game? Fuck all. Like, he's done fuck all, yet he starts every fucking week. That's on the manager.
Colin, did you see that stat? He's had 1 shot on target in the 11 Premier League games. I knew it wasn't great, but that was terrible. Carry on, mate. Go on, sorry.
Mate, it's embarrassing. It really is embarrassing. The fact that we're bottom 5 is embarrassing enough. And to add the insult to injury, Fulham are winning right now. 1-0 against Newcastle. They're 2 points behind us.
Yeah.
If you don't think that relegation is a serious problem this season, you are delusional. Because trust me, it is a real thing. Yeah. Forget this whole, long-term bullshit. Yeah. Forget all that.
Yeah.
If the long term, in my eyes, is meaningless, because if the short term is getting relegated, which could happen, if
now, Colin, you're making,
bro, I don't know. I'm speechless. I really am speechless at this point. I
Now,
really am.
Colin, you make a point because the thing is, if I take both your points because you'll both say the same thing over, even before today's game. Now, I hear a lot of talk about, certain players are going in the summer, but that's, we got to deal with the here and now, man. And I cannot believe a situation where we're going to continuously lose games and not pick up points, but we're going to rely on the fact that some of these guys won't be here in the summer. That to me, that's irrelevant right now. We know that's going to happen anyway. That's just common sense. But
yeah.
I mean, look at the way we're playing, man. Like the first time, I was shocked, like to see the level of the slowness of the transition. But the scary thing is, it's nothing new.
No, really.
I mean, go on, Colin, mate. Sorry.
It's do you know what? I keep saying it. It's embarrassing, bro. It's embarrassing. Like we've gone from even in recent years, we've gone from having Coquelin and Cazorla, who were an extremely underrated midfield,
yeah,
to El Neni and Ceballos.
It's madness.
What? Like,
I mean,
I still, do you know what? I still remember that City game away, yeah, with Coquelin and Cazorla in midfield, where we
2015,
where we absolutely done them. Yeah?
Yeah.
That midfield now, I just think I'm not seeing anything.
Speechless, yeah.
I'm not seeing anything. I'm not seeing anything from that midfield. I'm not seeing anything from the team. And more importantly than that, I'm not seeing anything from the manager. I want him to do well. I do. Trust me, I do. But the fact is, right now, it's not working. Yeah? You say that we can't change the manager. Well, we have to do something. We can't just sit on our hands and do nothing. Yeah. The board aren't going anywhere. Let's get that right. The boards are not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Right? So protests against the board are meaningless. Okay?
No, but if the board aren't going anywhere and the club's going to be running the same way, what difference does it make who the manager is? We're still not going to get the investment we need to.
Listen, it doesn't matter.
Go on, Rich. Go on, Rich.
What good's it going to do us when we've got the same people running the club that don't care? So of course,
Rich, you know what it? Yeah, Rich, you know what it is. I don't think with you two, I don't think it's a case of disagreeing. I just think because not even modern football, but irrespective of whether manager, whether it's experience or not, the cold hard light days, it's a results business. So if the Arsenal board are willing to suck it up and say, all right, this season's a write-off, but the season can be a write-off, but then there's bottom 3, bottom 5. You understand? Like where you only the bottom 4 have only got only the bottom 4 have got a worse goal difference than Arsenal.
But the board is to blame, so they can moan all they like, and they can say we're not happy with the position they're in the league. None of us are, but the board are responsible for that.
That's what I mean. I'm agreeing with what you're saying. That's what I'm saying.
So changing the manager isn't going to change the fact that underneath is rotten, and until that rottenness is gone, we could have 10 managers and not be any further forward. And it's not the managers that's the problem. Emery wasn't the problem. Arteta isn't the problem. Wenger before wasn't the problem. Not really, to a certain degree towards the end.
The latter years, it's really part of the problem,
Part of it, but every manager part of it to a degree. But that's not really the problems at this club. Emery wasn't the real problem at the club, and I don't think Arteta's a problem. The problems are a lot deeper into the club than that. And until that changes, I don't. We could literally. I say we could go through 10 managers in the next 5 years, and in 5 years' time, we will be in a similar position. Not necessarily 15th in the league. We might be slightly higher. We might be 10th or 12th or 8th. But that's not where we want to be, is it? That's not, to me. I don't care if we finish 8th or if we finish 15th. It doesn't matter. It's shit. It's not good enough, and that makes no difference who the manager is. We will still be 8th or 15th or somewhere in between, because this is how the club's been run into the ground over the last number of years. And until that changes, we are going to stay in a similar position that we are. We're going to be a mid-table club for the foreseeable future. And we could have 10 managers. It can make no difference at all. A top manager will not come to Arsenal with the restrictions placed on them financially. And the COVID situation probably hasn't helped either. But anyway, that's the same for other clubs. But So that's the first thing. We're not going to get a top manager coming with the restrictions that are there at the club at this moment in time. So, we have to, we can go another 10 managers like Arteta, like Emery, and where we're going to be? We'll be exactly the same place. Not going to make any difference. And I like Arteta. He's an ex-Arsenal player. He understands the club. He's desperate to do well. And I think let's stick it out. They said we're not going to get relegated. We're not going to get relegated. There are at least 6, 7, 8 teams worse than us. Is absolutely no. We're playing crap.
We're not at the moment.
I mean, I would debate that really.
No,
Rich. I'm going to say, Rich. What did you? Yeah, I want to get your thoughts on. Sorry, mate, to deviate a little bit away, but what did you make of the first half and second half performances, mate?
The first half, to me, we're a team with no confidence. And, there was a lot of times where I think Colin mentioned it before that David Luiz had the ball a few times, bring it out from the back. He was looking for movement. He didn't have movement. So in the end, he just played a simple ball to Rob Holding and thought, there's no movement here. And then a couple of times he tried to make movement by pinging a long ball over the top for someone to move on to. And it's a lack of fluidity in the play, but a lot of that's coming from me for lack of confidence. They've got no confidence or belief in what they're doing. And you can see that's the problem. And in the second half, again, we still lack belief and we still lack confidence. But once again, we've come out in the second half, like on Wednesday night, and whatever Arteta said to them during the break, it's had an effect because you could see the difference. You saw the difference Wednesday night. We got the early goal. We may well have gone on and got more from that game if it wasn't for the red card. Today, we came out with a lot more intensity in the second half. Yes, the quality is not there, the confidence isn't there, and the belief isn't there. But you can't question. For me, you couldn't question them in the second half for the effort that they put in, and they were trying to get trying everything they could to get something from that game in that second half today, like they did the other night. And you can criticise them and say they're not good enough, and that's fair enough. I agree. But what we can't criticise them for is a lack of effort, which for me they showed today in that second half.
Rich, sorry to cut in, mate. So do you think that's more a case of, because like I look at our last few games, right? I hear what you're saying about like the effort and a bit more intensity, but do you think that's more a case of the fact that if you're playing a game where you're chasing the game and the opposition will kind of let you have the ball really because they don't have to come out on the front foot? You think it's more a case of that or would you give Arsenal a little bit more credit than that? Or do you think it's just a case of, like I said, the fact that we have to chase the game? We have to.
I think games change on goals, don't they? And if we hadn't conceded that soft goal before half time and it'd gone in at 1-1, then the second half, I think Everton would have looked more to try to win the game. In the second half, they didn't need to try and win the game. They were winning the game. They just had to stop us from scoring. And that was basically, I thought, what they sort of did. That was their mentality. And we just lacked the quality to break that down. Whereas if the score had been different, if it had been 1-1 at half time, the game would have opened up. Everton would have took more risks. They would have come at us and it would have left a few more gaps, which we could have maybe exploited. We will never know because that didn't happen. But the game played out in the way it played out because of the goals. And that's what happens in every game, isn't it? I thought we went 1-0 down to a good side away from home. And I thought we responded quite well to that. We got level. Wasn't a lot of quality about it, to be honest. It was a bad cross that was badly cleared and a terrible kind of air shot from their defender, and Maitland-Niles got in front of him and it was a penalty. So it was a catalogue of mistakes, but we got ourselves level. And at that time, you think, well, okay, we've done okay here. We've kept ourselves in the game, got ourselves level again, and then thought, right, see this out till half time, regroup in the second half, and we've got a chance. And then, of course, we conceded an absolutely ridiculous goal, which is not good enough at all. And there's no excuse for that at all. But at the same half, yes, Everton, we played into Everton's hands, but what else could we do? Any team 2-1 down at half time who needs a result is going to come out in the second half and going to have the ball and going to try to do what they can to get a goal. And Everton didn't need to get a goal, did they? So they sat back. Yeah. And we had the quality, and that's what it came down to. But I wasn't overly upset with how we played. We played a lot worse than that this season, quite a few times. And then I've been really upset. And today I came out of that thinking, well, you know what? They did the best that they could do. It's not good enough, but you can't expect more. You can't expect more from people that haven't got any more to give you. They gave everything they had, and it's not good enough, is it? And hopefully a little bit of quality coming in with Martinelli returning. When Thomas Partey's fit, then we're going to have more of a chance in games like this to maybe get something because we'll have that little bit more quality that we didn't have today. And
Rich, you see the goals we conceded, right?
yeah,
you see what actually I'm going to talk about the goal we scored. I actually thought because Maitland-Niles actually took a chance and pressed, which I've seen on Twitter, every Arsenal fan mentioned the same word about where's the pressing game? What's happened to the pressing game? Why are we not pressing? He actually made something happen. But in terms of the goals we conceded, mate, where do you look at and think? Who would you lay blame at for any of the goals if possible, mate?
I mean, the second one's Pepe because he just, Mina ran off him, and he's not a natural defender, so you can maybe understand why he switched off. But to me, that's Pepe's fault. It was his man. He didn't follow him. You've got to make it difficult for him. You've got to go with him and at least put him under pressure. And he didn't, and he just let him run off him, and he's got a free header. And Leno didn't exactly cover himself in glory either because he was standing in the middle of the goal. And I don't know what he was doing. He made a great save just before that as well, didn't he? And then he goes and does that. So I think between the two of them, it was a complete disaster. The first goal, could we have done more to stop the cross?
Yeah.
That's the problem. We didn't do enough to stop the cross, did we? And yes, Rob Holding, maybe it was good movement from Calvert-Lewin, got in front of him. Rob Holding was maybe asleep. He tends to do that. He reacted too late, and Calvert-Lewin got in front of him. Yes, it was unfortunate that it hit him because it was going to go wide. And it was like we was unlucky with that, but it's the cross coming in, isn't it? We needed to stop the cross. Was that Tierney's fault? I can't remember who was out there. Was it Saka not closing him down? I don't know. Iwobi's, they may have thought, well, it's Iwobi, he's probably going to go in the crowd, but unfortunately, he put a decent ball in for once, and they scored. And it was that was the problem. The problem was we didn't close the cross down on that goal, so it was bad goals to give away. And unfortunately, we don't have the quality in the other end of the pitch to we can't afford to make those mistakes. Because we're never going to be able to make up for it, are we? Because we don't have that quality, unfortunately. And the only goal we did manage to score again is a penalty. So what's that? That's 2 of our last 4 goals in the Premier League. Going back in 10 games have been 2 penalties. Half our goals are penalties. That's dire. Clearly that's where the problem is. But now it's a confidence issue as much as anything. You can see they're going out there, their heads are down, and they just don't have the confidence to play football. And they're hiding a lot of them. David Luiz had the ball. They were hiding. No one wanted the ball. So in the end,
that's what I'm saying about the centre backs. There's nothing through the mid. Just like you can't play that way.
The forward players aren't making runs. Their heads are down and their confidence has gone. And that's what it is. And it's a confidence thing. And maybe we need a couple of goals like Everton scored today, especially the first goal. We need someone to go for us. A goal going off someone's backside, and we suddenly get a lucky break. And maybe then that might lift everybody in a big game, maybe against Chelsea. Let's hope we can do it then, because I do feel as though at this moment in time, we need something to go our way because everybody's down. And you can just see it clearly. We're a team just playing literally with no confidence. And that's the biggest problem. And that's why we're getting the results that we're getting now. After the first 3 or 4 poor performances that we put in a row, going back, a few weeks now, unfortunately, that's where the problems have started from. I think the Aston Villa game actually was where it started from. We got ripped to bits that day. And since then, we've never recovered. The confidence has never come back. And it didn't help because Thomas Partey got injured that day as well. And those 2 things together have just literally, since then, it's like it's just the bottom's dropped out of it. And I do feel it is a confidence thing. And if something can happen and we can get a result somewhere along the way in the next few games, then I think it will start to improve. And I think some of the players will start to get lifted again. Because let's face it, this is a team largely 1 or 2 changes that won the FA Cup, that beat Man City, beat Chelsea, beat Liverpool. This is the same group of players, pretty much, that did that. And you can't tell me they've suddenly gone from being able to play like that. And yes, it wasn't necessarily great football, but it was a system that worked and we was able to get results. So from going like that to being like this, they're the same players. They've not suddenly lost the ability to play football. They've lost confidence. And maybe they've lost a little bit of belief as well. And maybe that's partly to do with some of the messing around that Arteta's done with the team. Maybe that's partly to do with some injuries. Maybe it's partly to do with a few other issues going on behind the scenes. But to me, that's what the issue is. It's a confidence issue more than anything else, because it can't be anything else, can it? Because you can't go from a team that won the FA Cup, beating some of the teams that we beat, to playing the way that we play with pretty much the same players. I mean, this team today, that is pretty much the team that played in the FA Cup final, apart from Xhaka instead of El Neni. Pretty much the same. Obviously, Aubameyang instead of Nketiah. That's pretty much, well, I suppose Willian instead of Lacazette then, but that's it. And virtually the same team. I suppose the goalkeeper's different, but we don't want to go on about that anymore. Look at our difference in the performance with the same group of players. It's got to be confidence. It can't be anything else. It can't be.
Well,
Colin, go on. I was going to bring you in. Go on, mate. Go on, bro.
it can be. It could be the fact that they've lost faith in the manager.
Yeah, good point.
The rumors of David Luiz. There is no. No one can tell me that these players are trying, because what they do, right? They're very clever with the way they do it, right? They're very clever. What they do, they give off the illusion that they're trying, right? The illusion. But
How can you do that? How can you? You either trying or you're not trying. You can't pretend to try. You can't. That's the impossible.
No. Here's the thing, Richard. Right? I've seen teams do this before. Right? They make it look like they're trying by running for the ball a lot. Right? Many teams have done this. It's not just one thing. All right? I'll look at Willian's performance today.
Oh my
You tell me he tried. Nah, not having it. You look at the majority of them players' performance today, right? Outside of Maitland-Niles, who you could, and Saka, Tierney, those guys I'll give leeway, right? Because they actually do look like they try, but the rest of them don't. The rest of them have done this for 2-3 seasons. It's not just one thing. They did this under Wenger. They did this under Unai Emery. They did this under Freddie, and they're doing it under Arteta. I can see right through them. Right.
Why get rid of Arteta? Because they'll do the same again. Why get rid of Arteta?
They are not fooling me. All right. They are not fooling me. They can stick it up their arse with that. Yeah. The reason I put this on Arteta, right, is because he's the one that constantly picks these players. He's the one that constantly starts Willian. Why? What's Willian done to deserve a starting place every week?
It's madness.
And to add to that, the last 2 games he's brought in Maitland-Niles. But for the most part, he's played Bellerin. And truthfully, the only reason he played Maitland-Niles last week is because he was forced to because of Bellerin's suspension.
Yeah.
How many times did Emery pick Maitland-Niles? How many times did Wenger pick Maitland-Niles? 3 managers in a row have not regularly picked him. Why is that? It can't be Arteta's fault. There must be other reasons why he's not getting regularly picked. And it isn't necessarily he can put in good performances. He did today. He did Wednesday night. He has before. Last season, he put some good performances in the FA Cup and stuff like that. But regularly, managers aren't picking him regularly in the team. That's not just Arteta's done that. It's not like Arteta suddenly left him out. Every other manager before has left him out.
Rich, to be fair, mate, Maitland-Niles, when Arteta first come, you might disagree, but Maitland-Niles was regularly playing, and then he gets bombed out of the team against Chelsea away last season, then we don't see him.
And another thing, Albert, as well, yeah? Arteta over the summer, this is all I heard from him. Oh, we want Maitland-Niles to stay. He's going to start games for us. He's part of our plans. Yeah, and we know he had an offer from Wolves.
Yeah.
Right? That's not fabricated for nothing.
Yeah.
All right? And yet, he does so well in the cup final. And in my view, he was one of the reasons why we won the game. Yeah, Pepe and Aubameyang got plaudits, but Maitland-Niles was one of the main reasons as to why we won that in the first place.
It's Ross Lewis.
It's not
It's not. I don't think it is. No.
Me personally, I just don't believe in the manager anymore. If Rich does, that's cool. I've got no issue with that.
No, right? I'm not necessarily believing him. I don't think that's the biggest problem that we've got. And like we said before, players didn't perform for Emery.
I agree with that. That's not the only problem. I agree. I'm not stupid. I know what I'm watching in regards to what's going on behind the scenes as well. I know the board are a problem, but they're not going anywhere. They aren't. The players are a problem as well.
I'll ask you this then, right? Let's say the club tomorrow say, right, Arteta's gone. What do we do? Who would you get in? That realistically, that we could get in, that we could afford, first of all, that would come to Arsenal. Who would you get in? And what do you expect them to do?
Poch, he'd go. I'll go for him.
Right, and what do you think Poch would be able to do with this group of players? Bearing in mind, he's not going to be given any money to spend because we haven't got any money. We can't even afford to pay a mascot, right? We're having to pay the mascot off, so we haven't got any money to spend. What do you expect Poch or anybody now to do between now and the end of this season? What do you think they can do?
Rich, the thing is, sorry, Colin, sorry. Just to play devil's advocate. Say, for example, even if we, because if we get the manager in, I don't know, whoever it is, I'm never a great believer in when people say, you know, who's out there. There's always managers available in football. It happens. That's just nature of the beast. The thing is, whoever was whoever was to come in, most of these players will be half these players. Well, not most of them. Most of them will be gone. That's the first thing. So the new manager, whoever comes in, just to say, for example, to Arteta goes.
But where they're going to go? Who's going to buy them?
Rich, I'm talking about the players whose contracts are coming up, mate, that are not going to be.
They're going to go with Arteta still. If we keep Arteta, they're still going to go at the end of the season.
I'm saying, if Arteta's gone and they get someone else in when, you know, at the end of the season, for example, then they're not going to have to work with the trash that's already at the club. So that's half the battle won.
Well, so will Arteta. Arteta won't have to work with them anymore either. Very much.
That's if he gets that long, mate.
Well, if he gets that long, yeah. But what I'm saying is, this is what I mean. I can't see. I mean, I've thought about this a lot over the last few weeks because I've been a bit up and down with Arteta in, Arteta out, and I've really been undecided about it for probably 2 or 3 weeks now. And I've got to the point now where I can't see the point of changing manager now because it's going to make no difference whatsoever. Whoever we get in, if we did get Pochettino in, and Pochettino is, let's face it, potentially a great manager, could be a great manager for us. But then with he did well at Tottenham with the financial restraints that they had. I mean, they didn't even buy any players about 2 transfer windows, did they, at all? And he still had reasonable success with them. But coming into Arsenal at the moment, with what we've got, with the problems that we've got, what realistically could you expect Pochettino or anybody to do now if they came in now? At the end of the season, it's different. I agree with Albert there that at the end of the season, these players are gone. But then Arteta's going to benefit from that as well, whoever's manager is. So to me, stick with Arteta until then. Let him get the players in the next summer that he really wants. The players that we haven't been able to get because we've been tied out of all these big contracts that are going to be released next year. And then whoever the manager is then has got an opportunity to build a team. So whether that is Arteta or whether it's somebody else, that's the time to do it, not now, because now is pointless. This season is going to be a shit season in the league, certainly, whatever we do now. We need to accept that. And Arteta at least has got some record of cup games. We could end up winning a cup. We could do well in the Europa League. Imagine if we win the Europa League, get in the Champions League next year. All them players are off the books. Arteta gets in 4 or 5 players that he really wants. Next year, we could be winning the Premier League.
Rich, I've been waiting for Arsenal to win the European trophy since '94, mate. So I'm not confident that they're going to go with Europa League, mate.
We've been close a few times. We've got to a few finals and lost, but you know, Arteta's got a good record in finals, hasn't he? He's got to 1 and won one. So
we've turned into a cup team, mate. He's won more cup games than he's won Premier League games, which is not a compliment, by the way.
Well, it isn't. Winning trophies. There's a team up the road that love to win a few trophies that we've won in the last few years, and we've been pretty average. Yet we're winning trophies. Arteta's won us more trophies than what Pochettino won for Tottenham all the time he was there. So, you know, you could look at replacing Arteta with Pochettino, but Arteta's won more trophies in less time.
The thing with Poch, right, he's actually experienced. Arteta's
not winning anything. He's experienced that.
Yeah, but the only thing I'd say to that, Rich, and I'm not, listen, we've got no allegiance to Tottenham, but, you know, they've never been a club that's won trophies, but he took them from a completely different stage to where they are at now.
No, I'm not saying he didn't improve Tottenham as a club because he did. And any success that they now go on to have under Mourinho will be from the work that Pochettino did with them over the years before that. And I accept that. But ultimately, you know, you missed out on Big Sam. Yeah, he was what we needed, probably.
The bloody old nose.
If we were in the bottom 3, then I think we'd needed someone like that. But we don't. We're not in that crisis yet, are we?
No, we are in that crisis, right? And I'll tell you why as well. Because, I mean, I don't know what the result of Fulham nor do I give a shit. But we're in a position where you say nothing can be benefited from changing the manager. I'll tell you what can be benefited: our fucking Premier League status, bruv. No. Listen, Relegation is a real thing. It is. It is. And again, like,
we're not getting relegated. I'm telling you that.
No, relegation is a real thing. We're not finishing in the top half. That I can assure you of.
Maybe we won't get to the top half. I'm not necessarily saying that we will, but we definitely will not get relegated. Absolutely no chance in this world.
I can tell you another definite. We are not getting top 4.
No, we're not getting top 4 either. I agree with that.
I know I said second when Partey signed, but that was more the high Thomas Partey. So
yeah.
But still,
we've got Partey to come back in, haven't we? We've got Martinelli to come back in. We've got Aubameyang to come back in. 3 players that are going to make a difference to that team from today. And we're definitely not getting relegated. Definitely not.
I don't know.
Guys, I'm going to come on to our final point. It's kind of like 2 questions, but I don't know. Mikel Arteta's substitutions. Briefly, I'm going to ask you about that. I'm going to start with Colin. And also, are there any Arsenal players today that you felt, in your opinion, that came out with any resemblance of credit? I'm going to start with Colin, mate.
Maitland-Niles.
Yeah, I thought he played well today. I thought he played well.
Like,
I feel more confident, comfortable with him.
He's the best fullback at the club. I'm not even. Do you know what? It's actually funny because he's not even a fullback.
Exactly. That's the ironic thing. Yeah.
That's how embarrassing it is. But still, Maitland-Niles, yeah, like, I don't know what it is. Like, he never gets under. Emery was kind of forced to put him at fullback, really, because of Bellerin's injury. But
yeah. Even
then, Maitland-Niles smashed it when he got delivered the chance. He was the main reason why we won the FA Cup, in my opinion. He's the main reason why we won the Community Shield. Like, whenever Maitland-Niles is called upon, he's done well. Like, he's not the type of guy that's just gonna, down tools like most of these lads are.
Okay, Silver.
Jesus Christ.
Oh,
good Lord.
I'd rather Arteta.
Go on, Colin.
But no, Maitland-Niles, I would say. Kieran Tierney as well.
Yeah, usual suspects. Yeah.
I think he's shown that he should be the captain over Aubameyang. The fact that he's taken accountability. I mean, there's not
Saka.
Yeah, I suppose you could put Saka in there, but that's 3 players, man.
It's terrible. I know. That's the best. I know.
Like, there's only 3 players. I would say to this whole squad, right? And I'm not including Partey and Gabriel, right? That's a good one. Yeah, I'm not including Partey and Gabriel in this, right? Because building the team around them, that should be, obvious to everyone, right? I shouldn't need to explain why that should be the case, okay? But you look at this whole squad, you think, all right, Maitland-Niles,
yeah,
Saka,
yeah,
Martinelli,
yeah.
Aubameyang in the short term.
Yeah.
And when I say short term, right, I mean until his contract runs out, and then we kind of look for the next guy.
Yeah. Which I should be planning now. Yeah.
So,
truthfully,
that's what, 5? That's 5 players, bro.
Yeah, you make a good point, mate.
Like, I don't understand how I do not understand how we've got to this position. Like, I mean,
a culmination of years, mate. A culmination of a lot of years.
You know what, right? Everyone that has had a hand in what's gone on the last couple of years, I've fully put on them. Yeah? See this stuff, bald fraud. Yeah? Vinay, the fucking B-Tech Gazidis. Yeah. Raul for signing his mates.
Yeah.
Right. To a certain degree, Arsene Wenger.
Yeah.
The only reason I blame him slightly, right, is because he stayed on far too long.
Yeah, far too long.
Right? I don't discredit what he did. Getting into the Champions League with shit teams, I fully understand the significance of that achievement.
Yeah.
Without question. I don't discredit that, and I don't discredit the Invincibles and winning us the cup, or winning us like so many of them. Right? I don't discredit that. I'm not the type of guy that's going to discredit trophies in any way whatsoever. But there's so many people that have a part to play in regards to the situation we're in.
Yeah.
Now, I don't blame Arteta for the situation we're in. That I have to make perfectly clear.
Yeah.
Okay? I blame him more for tactical decisions than I do our current predicament now.
And substitutions.
Exactly. But you look at it, we're just a mess from top to bottom. And I understood that there was going to be bumps along the way. I get it. But if you told me that bumps in the road was bottom 5, staring relegation in the face, I'd be like, I'm not about that life. Not about that life. I mean, being on, I do think we're in the relegation battle. I don't think we'll get relegated because as amazing as it is, there are teams in this league that are worse than us. How that's even possible, I've got no idea because we're so shit at the moment. But still, there's so many people that have a part to play in this. And unfortunately, as much as I want him to do well, he's got the next game to save his job, in my opinion, from the board's eyes. All right, I'm not from my eyes, yeah. From the board's eyes. If we don't see anything tangible in the next few, against Chelsea on Boxing Day and against City in the Cup, then there's only one route you can take. Like, I get Richard's point that, you know what, sacking him does nothing. I get that because ultimately there's bigger problems.
Yeah.
But still, football is a results game. If you're not getting it, you're not getting it, bruv.
Yeah.
Like, it really is that simple.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah, well, now Colin said, Rich, I want to come to you, mate. Sort of two-part question. Like I said, what did you make of Arteta's, less proactive subs, and also any players you thought had come out of any credit tonight, mate?
I mean, in terms of the substitutions, for me, at least he tried to bring some attacking players on. He brought Willock on and took off El Neni, wasn't it? So that's an attacking change. He brought Martinelli on, which was an attacking change, and he brought Lacazette on, which is technically an attacking change. Yeah. So at least he was positive in the substitutions. I would personally have brought Smith Rowe on, possibly instead of Willock, because I think Willock's had enough opportunities and maybe hasn't quite done enough. But with what he put on the bench, that was pretty much the three subs that you could look at and say, apart from Smith Rowe, and say, well, that was pretty much the only choices he had in the circumstances. So I didn't really have too many issues with the substitutions. And at least he made the first one quite early. Yeah. 60 odd minutes, whatever it was, 62 minutes, whatever it was. So that was a positive because sometimes he's left it too late. In terms of players that came out of credit today, I agree. Maitland-Niles was probably the only one who I think performed better than maybe you'd have expected. And everybody else, even Saka, I love Saka, and I think he's had a great season. He wasn't his best game today. Not necessarily his fault, but I didn't think he was great today. But he's Saka, isn't he? So
why, absolutely.
I thought Tierney again. He's consistent and solid. What I want to say is this, right? Without us buying any players, how does this team sound to you, right? Leno in goal. Back four, Maitland-Niles, Gabriel, Mari and Tierney. That's a decent back four for me. Midfield, Partey, El Neni, Smith Rowe. That's a decent midfield. And then front three, Aubameyang, Martinelli. That's a team that can finish in the top four, right? And now the players are out of the club already. Some are injured, some haven't been playing yet. But we're not far away from, you know, and with a couple of extra additions in there, a little bit of quality to back up as well. That's not a bad 11, that, you know. Arteta hasn't ever played that team yet. He never has done, and I doubt he ever will. But these players are at the club. And so to me, we have, at the moment, things aren't looking very good, but there are reasons that we can be optimistic because we have got some good players and younger players that are going to be the future of this club. We've got Balogun as well to probably coming for Aubameyang eventually when Aubameyang, you know, has reaching the end. So, you know,
Rich, sorry, I'm going to say that's if Balogun stays, mate, because I don't think he will. I don't think he will.
But that's why I didn't put him in that team because at
the moment
I'm unsure. But all these players at the club, they're all on sort of long-term contracts and stuff like that now. So, you know, I can see some positives there. I say adding 2 or 3 quality players into that. I mean, does Arteta look at that 11 that I've just said and think that that's maybe the 11 he should be playing when they're all fit or not? Because he's never looked like he's going to play Smith Rowe yet. He hasn't really looked. I know Martinelli's been injured and Partey's been injured. He hasn't looked like playing Mari in the Premier League yet. But I don't know. To me, things are bad at the minute, but I do feel as though they are not far off being a lot better. And I say I can't see the point of getting rid of a manager now. Let's wait till we can get all the deadwood off the wage bill.
Yeah.
Let's see where that takes us. If by this time next year we haven't progressed from the 8th position last year, we haven't progressed from that, despite clearing out and getting new players in, then maybe you can look at it and say, is Arteta able to take this job on and take us forward? At this moment in time, it's impossible to say because I think he's being hamstrung a little bit with what he's got at his disposal. But I say we have got that 11 team there. Plus, there's 1 or 2 others that you could add into the squad. To, you know, I say Balogun would be one of them. There's maybe a couple of others as well. Ceballos, who's probably a decent enough squad player. You know, Xhaka, who's probably an okay squad player if he's needed. But you know, overall, we've got the basis of an all right team there. If they can all be fit at the same time, and Arteta can find some way of playing them together, which I think in the way I've just said it could probably work. Smith Rowe in like a more advanced position with Partey and El Neni sitting behind him, and then you've got a front three that potentially has got goals in it. And I'd like to see that team play actually, just to see when they're all fit and ready to play, throw that in for 6 or 7 games and let's just see where we are. And that actually could end up being a quite exciting team to watch, I think. But will Arteta do that? I think at the moment he's under. Someone put in a comment, didn't they, about Arteta? He's learning under pressure, and that's such a good point because of the pressure that he's under, he doesn't feel he can throw in a lot of these young players because that's not what you can do in that situation. He's thinking the experienced players have got to is a safer bet maybe at this moment in time. It's not working clearly at the moment, and maybe it's got to at some point start to change it. But I can see why he maybe hasn't thrown him in because he is under pressure to get results. And unfortunately, you know, Smith Rowe might well be the answer. He might have the same impact that Martinelli had last season if he's thrown in the team. We don't know, but it's still a risk, isn't it? At this moment in time, and Arteta isn't in a position to take too many risks, and that's why his team selections are generally quite safe. And today it was quite a safe team selection, and his substitutions were, I wouldn't say ambitious, but at least they were attacking substitutions when we were losing the game. In the past, I've criticised him for not doing that, and at least he did that today. I would have had some different players on the bench, but anyway, that's what he had, and that's what he had to work with. So, but yeah, only for me today, Maitland-Niles really came out of any credit, and Tierney probably, but we know what we're going to get with Tierney, so I don't think that's a surprise. Maitland-Niles one for me that he should now be in that team every week. When he's fit, he should play every game at this moment in time because he deserves that. And I feel as though there's going to be other players that are going to get an opportunity, whether it's by accident. In this case, it was because Bellerin was suspended. He had plenty of opportunities to make that change weeks ago, or whether it's the fact that in the end Arteta makes them choices himself. But some of these young players, or younger players, are going to come in the team at some point. They are. And if they make the impact that Maitland-Niles made in the last 2 games, then they're going to hopefully get a run in the team because you can't leave him out. He can't leave Maitland-Niles out now, can he? You can't. If he leaves him out of the Boxing Day game against Chelsea, then maybe you have got to start questioning Arteta. If he brings Bellerin back in after those performances Maitland-Niles has put in this week, then you'd have to question him. But he's played himself into the team, and I hope someone like Smith Rowe can play himself into the team if he gets a chance. Martinelli looked as though he's certainly put a good argument to include him in the team against Manchester City, certainly in a Carabao Cup, hasn't he? And then if he does the business there, he's got to be in the running for a place in the Premier League as well. But players have got to get these opportunities to do it, and then we can then start questioning Arteta if they then produce performances and he leaves them out. You can say he's picking Willian week in, week out about performing, but Willian's got a pedigree in the Premier League. Smith Rowe doesn't have that pedigree. Balogun doesn't have that pedigree because they're young players and they won't have. So I can see why Arteta's doing it. And hopefully at some point or other, Willian won't be able to play because he gets injured or he gets suspended or whatever it is. And then someone else has got to come in and they play themselves into the team like Maitland-Niles has done. And then that's when Arteta's got to make that decision. Do I stick with this player who's performed well for me over my more experienced player? And then we'll see exactly where his mind is with it all. And then we might get more of an idea. At the moment, Saka's done it. Saka's played his way into the team. He's a regular now. And he's done that from proving himself in games, regularly playing, and he's stayed in the team. Maitland-Niles hopefully now has done that as well. He's going to stay in the team. Gabriel did it. A young player coming in. There's no way Arteta was thinking at the start of the season Gabriel would play 10 league games out of the first 13 or whatever he's played. No way he would have thought that. But Gabriel played himself into the team and he deserves to stay in there. So Arteta's proved that he will do that with players that deserve it. And maybe that's partly to do with how they work in training as well, which we don't see. We don't know. We see a few stupid videos of them training, which are pointless because they don't prove anything. So we don't know, do we? Maybe Willian in training, maybe he's putting the work in training. And so maybe Arteta thinks he deserves to be still in this team ahead of an inexperienced player who he doesn't really know he can trust yet. And maybe that's what he's doing. We don't know. But hopefully these people will these young players will get opportunities because they're given opportunities because they become available and they play themselves into the team. And then that's when we're going to see, that's when we can criticise Arteta after that if he doesn't keep them in the team when they're playing well. And I say, if Maitland-Niles gets left out of the Chelsea game and Bellerin's playing right back, then I think all of us have got a right to question Arteta about that. Every single person has, because that would be a stupid decision in the circumstances. I don't care how well Bellerin's been training in the last 2 weeks. Maitland-Niles has come into the team and he's done a great job for 2 games and he deserves his place until such a time as he doesn't keep that level of performance up or he gets injured or whatever it is. But so let's see what happens with that next team selection against not Man City, because Man City is a cup game. He'll rotate players. Right? You might well play Bellerin in that, mightn't he, to get him a game, and then hopefully he will then put Maitland-Niles back in against Chelsea. But we'll see. So to me, that's what we need to see happening now before we can really start pushing for Arteta to go. We need to let him see how he's going to react to the young players coming in and playing well, and is he going to keep him in the team? And if he does, then we're going to see this evolution of the team, and it's going to get better, And I am wanting to keep faith in him for now until it gets to the point where he's making these selection issues. At the moment, he's picking Willian because realistically, who else have we got that's better than Willian that could come in and do it? Now we've got Martinelli putting pressure on Willian. That's going to be interesting to see. Now Martinelli's. Who else have we got realistically that could have played in the last 10 games in the squad that potentially, if you think about it from outside, yeah, Willian's not played well. Let's not get away from that. But who else could have come in and done a better job than him in the squad that we've got with the players that we've got? Willock, probably not. I don't think so. Willock's had plenty of opportunities. He's not good enough, I don't think. Who else have we got? Pepe's been playing as well as Willian quite often. Is he much better? Slightly. He's got a little bit more unpredictability about him. Who else is there? He's played Lacazette in that position. That doesn't work because Lacazette can't play that position. It's not his natural game. Who else is there that you would have picked ahead of him? I don't know. Maybe give Smith Rowe a chance, possibly, but I don't know. He's only played 2 games in the Europa League, isn't he, or 3 or whatever it is. He only started 1 of them. So is he ready to come in and do a 90-minute Premier League game? No, he's not, because he's not played enough games to do that. So I can understand the decision. It doesn't seem the right decision always, but what other choice has he had? Who else can play there? Realistically, that could come in the Premier League and do a job that I don't know. I don't think there is.
So go on, Rich. Sorry. The only thing we're going to finish out. The only thing I would add to what you're saying, I think in terms of giving people an opportunity, and I said this before, and I make reference to it when we played in the Europa League final last year, whenever it was. 8 of that starting 11 are still at the club. For me, that's an issue because they're not good enough. People might argue we got to a final, but then I would say Wenger's last 2 seasons, we finished 5th and 6th in the Premier League. Emery finished 5th. Last season, 8th. They're not good enough. I understand it about the youngsters and bedding them in. Saka's just an exception, to be honest, amongst the group of all of them. But going forward, whether Arteta is going to be here long enough to get that opportunity to blood the youngsters is a whole nother topic. But guys in the chat, I want to say a big thank you to you guys for the comments and chat that fly through quite a few. On a big shout out to Colin, first time on here, mate. Appreciate you coming on. Rich, my usual guy, coming on. Appreciate it. This is a difficult time supporting our beloved club, but you know we have to ride through this. This is the worst I've seen it in my generation as a fan. Before we wrap up, because I've got to go, I've got a family emergency, I think, apparently at the moment. But my phone's been pinging off. But Colin, can the guys find you? They want to follow you on social media, mate.
At CMuch91 on Twitter. I mean, just a word of warning: if you raid my timeline with stupidity, I'll probably end up blocking you. So, just forewarning. And watch Arsenal on YouTube as well. We've got the Arsenal and Chill podcast that I do with Ola every week. Obviously, not this Wednesday night because being that it's the holidays, it's like just important to just chill with the family and whatnot. And we do
100%.
We need to talk series as well. Now, I only do that when shit hits the fan. All right, and I'm surprised I've not done one in a while, but I mean, to be honest with you, these players don't deserve my words on my own channel. No. Okay. And also, to wrap all that up, we actually do a Football Manager 2021 series with Arsenal. I've just finished. I've recorded the end of the first season. I'm not going to spoil it, but just know it involves 2 games against that lot and something becoming standard for me.
Yeah,
standard. And when I say that, it's standard in a good way. All right, not standard as in banter. Not standard as in shit, standard as in good. Standard as in good. So if you enjoy all that and you want to see a successful Arsenal team, come check out your boy. Anyway, all good, bruv.
I think Albert's froze, yeah.
I think he has. He's been freezing for a while, bro. Don't know what happened.
Is he coming back? Oh, it's
back again. Yeah, I'm back here, mate. Sorry, go on. God. Now, Colin, thanks for coming on, mate. Rich, where can the guys find you, my friend? Thanks for coming on, mate.
No, I'm on Twitter. It's at GoonerRichB, and I'm on the on YouTube over and over and over again. It is called a positive channel, which is becoming harder and harder to stay positive. But I am trying, and I think I'll try to be positive tonight, if as much as possible. I know it is difficult, and I do understand you guys' frustrations and everybody else's frustrations. I'm frustrated as well, but I just feel as though what we've got to remember is we're Arsenal, and form is temporary and class is permanent. And at the moment, we're going through a bad time, but it will come back. It will. We'll be on the way back at some point. It's just how long that journey is going to take, and it might well take another 2 or 3 managers, possibly. We don't know, do we? But I at this moment in time, I think we should stick with what we've got, and hope that it does eventually improve. And it will eventually improve, because we're Arsenal, it always does. And forget relegation, forget it. It's not happening. We are not getting relegated. Not in my lifetime, not in your lifetime, not anyone's lifetime. It's not happening. It's not. So forget that. And let's I think better times are not that far away, if I'm honest. I know anything's better at the moment, so that's not really hard, but it is. So I'm an over and over and over again. I say it is a positive channel. I'm going to try and keep things positive if I can on there as long as possible, until it gets to the point where it's no longer possible, which isn't that far away over. But, I love your channel, as you know, and it's great to be on. It's great to chat to you guys as well. So.
Cheers, man. Much appreciated, guys. Please follow my Arsenal guys here, man. Arsenal community, we have to stick together. Difficult it is, but that's myself, Albert J TV, and the rest. Yes, guys, that is me, Albert JTV, over and out. Hashtag match review. Everton 2, Arsenal 1. We move to Man City.
Thank you.